we've been talking about this whole forcing pregnancy thing. We speculated, China went through the one-child policy where they get rid of all the babies, they force abortions. It's grim. It's horrible, right?
It's disgusting.
Almost a genocide level in 1990, 1991. Remember that massacre?
It's horrible.
Anyway, it's crazy. It doesn't even matter where you stand on the whole abortion issue.
Yeah.
China like forcing women to have them.
You force
pretty reprehensible.
Yeah, exactly. If you force people to have abortions, then you can't stand on either side. You can't. It's like you don't get to take people's agency away like that.
And it goes way worse than even the abortion thing.
Yes.
Anyway,
it's a grim topic for another time.
Yes, and we've covered in depth. The problem is that now China's like, crap, wow, we forced all those people to get rid of their kids, and then the one-child policy, now we have this huge problem. We have way too many old people, and who's going to take care of them? It's a filial piety society.
And let me just put this out to you, okay? We all had them. Maybe you're one of them, right? But only children. My kid's an only child too, so I got to be careful. But the thing is, when I grew up, the only children were like the worst. They were the most spoiled pieces of crap you ever could come across.
No
I'm just saying.
I'm not an only child, but I grew up around some, and you're 100% correct.
Dude, it's like they're the most dysfunctional human beings in their growing up like at a certain age.
Shout out to the only children in our audience right now.
Yeah.
You're the different one.
Yeah, of course.
You're not like that.
I'm just saying from my own personal experience.
But I'm talking to you, the person that's watching right now, that's not you.
No, I mean, obviously, it's a certain stage of your life, okay? And when you've got siblings, you have to vie for the attention of your parents. So you have to learn how to actually deal with other people and be diplomatic and negotiate. But if you're an only child, you're like, I want this, and I'm going to stamp my foot if you don't give it to me. You know, that type of thing. So you get spoiled kids. Obviously, I'm generalizing. If you're an only kid, props to you if you didn't turn out to be a horrible, spoiled person. But think about an entire generation of single spoiled kids.
Yes.
Just think about that for a minute. There's no balance.
No.
There's no balance. It's created.
New balance, new bunderin.
New bunderin. But I think you need that balance in society.
Yeah.
And China hasn't had that now.
No. And the problem is it has economic...
For 2 generations.
Yeah, it has economic implications now because you have no social safety net in China, little to no social programs. Despite what any streamer might have told you, China is not a socialist country. It has much... America is a communist socialist paradise compared to China. You get almost nothing from the government in China.
Yeah.
Almost nothing.
Yeah.
So you're in a situation where, well, the state's not. It's not like in Europe or something where the state's going to take care of your mom or dad or your grandma or grandpa.
Yeah.
You got to take care of all those people. And
Yeah.
because you can't share the wealth between your siblings because you don't have any.
Yeah.
How are you going to go forward, right?
Yeah.
You have a stagnating economy. You pair that together with that. You have falling wages for people that are coming out of university and the new highest youth unemployment rate to the point where China won't even report on the statistic
they're like,
anymore.
the statistics are so bad, we're not banning anyone reporting on them.
Right. It's
crazy.
bad, right? So what does China do in all its infinite wisdom is they say, I know what we can do is use our state power to say that China should have more babies. You have more babies.
Yes,
right? You do this, all right? And by the way...
start a new trend of family. Family's a new trend.
That's where we are. That's where we're at. So what happened was there was a leaked number that shows a population dip like no other, and a graph shows it really well. But I want you to go to the next thing to show this quote from Xi Jinping, what he said.
What, where he urges women to start a new trend family?
No, it's a little more specific.
Okay.
It says, she must start... Oh, yeah, you're right. It was a new trend of family. I want to show this picture, though.
Okay, yes, yeah.
So, because I have more notes here.
Okay.
They're trying to push a birth-friendly culture, which is in counter to the whole one-child policy, right?
Yes.
And there's an urgent national mission with a government subsidizing or organized matchmaking events and government subsidies for people that have children, right?
Yeah.
But this has been ridiculed. Do you know why?
Why?
Here's an example. A local government, some local governments have been using incentives to promote marriage because they need more babies to make China great. It's like MAGA for China, make China great again.
Yeah.
Gotta have more babies. You can put more people into the populace. They can raise those old people, and then China won't be stagnant and doomed, right? The Changshan County government in Zhejiang province would reward, get ready for this, guys. Wait till you see what you get. Newlywed brides, 25 years and old and under, with $150.
Okay.
If you get married, you get $150, right? That's gonna, imagine this. You're like, I don't know, this job's really got me down. My boyfriend's unemployed. I don't think we should even get married and have kids because we can never buy a house. We're stuck in this horrible, situation along with 700 other million Chinese people, right, in the same situation. Local government's like, just in $150 if you get married tomorrow. Call now. And they're like, you know what?
Well, I mean, I've been at points in my life where $150 is a lot of money, and I can
to get
married
and
tell you,
stay married. They have children.
Well, how long do you have to stay married for?
Let's be honest. They'll probably nail you real bad if you got divorced real quick.
Well, I mean, remember what happened with the whole real estate thing where people would get divorced on paper just so they could buy the houses?
That's true.
I can see couples getting married and divorced to different people just to like bring in the money. You know what I mean? Make it rain. $150 a shot?
Yes.
Wouldn't take long.
Well, here's the deal. Chinese people disagree with you because the small amount drew swift criticism online. In fact, the majority of people online were ridiculing.
Look, of course, I'm just saying, for some people, it would be an attractive proposition because you have to understand the poverty level in China.
Yeah, no, I understand.
So if you understand it better than most people out there. But you got those seriously poor people, and if there's $150 is like half of their yearly income.
Yes.
Problem
is, Changshan County in Zhejiang Province is very wealthy.
Yes, very rich. You're right. We're not talking about some mountain village or something. You're absolutely right. I
withdraw that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I withdraw.
Honorable Matisha.
So go on.
Yeah,
I just wanted to play some. By the way, I wanted to play some maternity ward footage in China. If you've been consuming a little too much Chinese propaganda about what the healthcare system looks like, here's a dose of reality.
First this. Okay, first this.
This is the population growth and decline.
Okay.
I find this graph shocking in two zones.
Okay, two zones.
Number one is around the 1960 mark, where you can see it. It just literally dips off the graph there with 10 million. And then 20, 30, 40, 50 million deaths, reduce population. Do you know why that is?
Starvation and all the purges and all the crap under Mao Zedong.
Murders.
The murders. It's a horrible time in Chinese history.
Around 70 to 80 million people probably lost their lives.
Just remember this, that the Communist Party of China is responsible for more deaths of local Chinese people than were killed by the Japanese during the horrible raids and, during World War II and all that stuff and all the terrible things the Japanese did. The Communist Party of China, the people in charge now, they really are responsible for the most amount of deaths of Chinese people in recent history.
Yes.
And it's appalling.
It's called the Great Leap Forward, and then followed by the Cultural Revolution after that. But the Great Leap Forward is where all the people died, and that was Mao's principles. He said, I don't care if I lose millions and millions of Chinese people as long as we get those quotas.
Yeah.
So the shocking thing is, look at the decline. So the one-child policy worked, by the way.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah, you see it go down.
But you know what's interesting? Is when they relaxed those rules, the population did start to go up a little bit. When they got rid of the one-child policy, when they started to relax some of those rules.
I remember, because obviously I lived in China at that time, and so did you actually. Yeah. And they had this whole thing where you could have a second child, but you just had to pay for it.
Yes.
So you had to pay a lot of money. It was like 100,000 RMB.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was nuts. It was like $15,000.
Yeah, $15,000, then you can have a second kid.
Yeah.
But at least it was an option. Yeah. At least it wasn't a situation where the government would bring an abortion van to your door and drag your wife into the van and forcefully abort her.
They did do that.
Yeah, they used to do that.
Long time.
And so when they started to relax to the point where you could pay for another kid, that's where you see this growth again.
Yeah. Yeah, and also that there were some periods there where they were relaxing the rule in general, just to try to get the birth rates up. But what's crazy is, look at this. Take us out real quick. This is the leaked figure. It shows that the population actually fell by 3.12 million in 2023, and that's crazy. Look at this graph. I mean, we're looking at basically, all this stuff. The doomsday people that are saying China's demographics are screwed. It's worse than with their own official data.
Yeah, the leaked data.
Predicting. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
So anyway, a Chinese maternity ward, while I read some of these quotes these are from Chinese people.
Yeah. I got to preface this.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh yeah, just for those of you who think that China's eradicated poverty, this is kind of a harsh reality of rural lifestyle. Kids have to help out on the farms and whatnot from a very young age. So, this, I just have to preface what's going on because I filmed this, right?
Yes.
This is a clinic, all right? I used to train doctors, so I'd be in the clinic sometimes. And this is a clinic, and what's happening here is it's vaccine time for the kids. So you have to get your mandatory vaccines in China, but of course it's one of those things you need to get it so that you can get that stamp, so that your kid can be eligible for going to school. And all that. It's kind of similar to other places, but just the chaos that ensues. This was in a tiny little local clinic.
Yeah.
This wasn't a big hospital. It's worse there. But it's like early in the morning. It's opening hours. They're about to open the doors.
In a rich city, by the way.
Yeah. This was in Shenzhen, which is like one of the richest, and to be honest, in one of the richest areas of Shenzhen. In fact, very rich areas. Richer than the area I used to live in. So this is what's going to happen. They're opening in the morning. Now, in most places, you would expect, okay, you got to go take your child for a vaccination. You're going to line up. You're going to go, go sign up and go do it and whatever. But this is what happens in China. I'll get us out of here. Let's take a look quickly here. Yeah, you put it in slow-mo, right?
I did, because I was going to read the reasons that people don't want to have kids.
So
you guys enjoy this.
Okay, go for it.
We don't need to narrate what
No. You can see what's going on by yourself.
In October, Chinese president, and I hate when people use that word, Chinese dictator Xi Jinping said it was necessary for women to actively cultivate a new culture of marriage and childbearing and strengthen guidance on young people's views on marriage, childbirth, and family. And what I wanted to say is I always find this very, very interesting. Mm-hmm. It's always countries like Russia and China that put on this facade, and it does appeal to a lot of conservative-leaning people, because it's like, well, we're facing some sort of cultural degeneracy and all this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
In the West, because that's what you see all over the place. You see on the media, whatever.
Yeah,
right?
stupid like music videos. And
right.
things.
Whatever. It's like what's in front of you, and if you
Bud
have
Light or whatever,
if you have those opinions, you're going to latch onto that, right?
Yeah.
But then you have counter propaganda from Russia and China that paint this family first image. Hey, at least maybe I don't like them very much, but at least their government's doing something about it, right? But they're promoting other family and stuff. And I always find this interesting, is that Russia and China are the countries with some of the lowest birth rates in the world, some of the highest rates of infidelity, some of the highest rates of non-religious people, right? These things that they're trying to show.
Highest rates of abortion.
All these things that these people look at as like, oh, that's at least they're doing moral things over there. These rates are so much higher than the U.S., right?
Yeah.
But they always put on this weird facade. They're like, we are this socialist communist country right back home, and we are nationalists and we love our country, and then to the rest of the world, like, we are moral, we support family values and stuff. It's a fantasy, right?
Yeah, it's a fantasy.
These countries it's massive projection.
Of course,
massive projection. And I always find that kind of ironic, because they're always like, they go to, well, at least they're doing something right. No, they're not. They're doing nothing right.
Yeah, that's right.
This quote here: marriage, childbirth, and loans for houses and cars are all liabilities, which are overdrafts from the future, said 32-year-old Zhang Yu when asked why he's not married. When the economic downturn is obvious, if there's no source of income, we can only reduce expenditures. Yeah, we love this.
Yeah.
Look at this. This, by the way, you have to go pay for everything. China's a communist country, right? It's a communist party of China.
You have to pay for it.
You have to pay for everything, and you have to pay first.
Yeah. Exactly. If you need to go see the doctor, you first line up, even if you're dead sick.
Yes. Do you know what happens if you can't pay? They literally kick you out on the street.
Yeah.
You don't get treated.
No, you don't.
I don't know why there's so many people right now, especially young people on like Twitch and stuff, that use China as an example of socialism. You be socialist all day and all night, but stop, for God's sake,
stop using China as an example. It's such a bad example. Anyway, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, look at the sign up there. Instead of pharmacy, it says harmacy, because
we love the harmacy.
The P fell off. Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, this again, I filmed this in an incredibly expensive clinic in a first-tier city in China.
Yeah.
All right, just so you know. Yeah. I love it, pharmacy.
It says Zhang lives in northeast China, where he works for an infrastructure company that imposed salary cuts in 2023, and that's something that's been happening across China. I'm also secretly glad that I did not marry and have children. Otherwise, I would have been in big trouble, said Zhang. That was a pseudonym. This was on Voice of America. JC Zhang, a single 27-year-old from Beijing who currently lives with her parents, mocking herself in her plight. She calls herself a frustrated loser in society. And that's like a slogan. Yeah. Because like people that have to live with their parents, because it's gotten so expensive. Salaries are so hard to come by because jobs are so hard to get. She says, without a job, you can't find a spouse. Mm-hmm. One person has enough to eat and the whole family is not hungry, she said. She said, given her current situation, it would be easier to be single than to get married.
Yeah, it's tough.
So, yeah, I mean, they're trying all kinds of crazy government initiatives. I mean, these are big. Xi Jinping's government's a lot different than Hu Jintao's government and a lot different than Jiang Zemin's government, a lot different than Deng Xiaoping's government. Xi Jinping's the biggest statist, to use state power to fix all the problems. And it doesn't, we've seen time and time again, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah.
You can't force people to get married and have kids.
Well, I mean, they can.
I'm saying in people's minds,
yes,
as a basic human right, you cannot do that.
If you can force people to kill their children, even when you're like 9 months pregnant, you can force them to have children.
Yes.
So I'm just saying the possibility is always
there.
yeah,
I'm not saying in reality.
They could forcefully inseminate
yes.
Women. It could happen.
We are making the claim, and we've said this years ago, we've been calling this because we've watched this progressively get worse. We think that eventually you will be forced to have children.
Yeah, and the incentives are they're already there. It's like if you have a second child, they give you like a subsidy, they give you like a huge cash bonus and stuff. It's already at that point, but it's probably going to get to a point that if you don't have children, your social credit score takes a huge knock.
Or you get fines.
Yes, you get fined. You can't use public transport, all that nonsense that they do to people. Yes. It's probably going to go there first before it gets to the point that, like, if you don't have a child by this time and you don't have a legitimate excuse, then you're in trouble.
When I said they can't force people to get married and have children, what I was saying is in the current state, that is not what people don't expect that. But I think it will come.
I think so, too. Barlun, Aisashi, Pro Boy, Skewrons.
Skewron. Cartello. Avidas.
Pumbaa.
Diedads. Dochi and Gabanov.
Absids, dude. Absids.
What does
Birkenstick? Birkenstick. X-Boy.
Abercrombie and Titch. Torrance Framers, dude.
Yeah, Robots in Disqueeze, dude. Meats by Dr. Dre.
Ballstar.
But it's kind of like an overweight Jordan or something. Look, it's a little bit different. It's like, who's, like, why?
Why?
It's like, come on, make up your own stuff for once,
When I close my eyes, I can almost see it. When I take a breath, you fill up my lungs.